everyone, welcome to the Big Apple School podcast, the weekly English show where we speak about everything under the sun. The major goal of this show is to help you improve your English and, of course, learn something new. My name's Katya, I'm your host, and today with me,
Gary from the United States.
And
Benjamin from London, UK.
Ben, this is your first time with us, so can you please tell us something about yourself?
Well, I just arrived here 6 days ago from London, and it's a very fun experience being here in Novosibirsk in the December winter. So I studied Russian at university, and I just wanted to come here to Russia to properly learn Russian and to teach English.
Fantastic. So, what about, your free time maybe? What do you like doing? What are your interests?
So generally, back in London, I love cycling and I love camping as well. A little bit difficult to do it in the Siberian winter, but I hope at some point I'll be able to get riding my bike. Also love traveling. I love checking out different cities, different places. Yeah.
If you love winter activities, snowboarding, skating, you'll have plenty of opportunities.
I'm sure.
All right. So this is New Year time coming, Christmas time coming. And you know what would be the best gift for us for the Big Apple School? Your feedback. We're doing our best to be as useful to you as possible, and we would like to get some feedback about it. Subscribe to our pages on Apple, Yandex, Google, VK, or other platforms, and let us know what you think about our show. Rate and review our podcast, give us stars, leave comments, ask questions, and feel free to send your ideas about our next episodes. It won't take much time or effort, but it'll help us a lot. So, and now, my favorite topic ever, because I love Christmas so much, and I'm sorry for being, overly excited about this, but yeah, Christmas. So I would like to ask a question, which is, what is Christmas? Like, how did that appear? Why are we celebrating it? And I think Gary can tell us about that.
I think that's my job, and so here I go. All right, Christmas, I'm going to just tell you the whole story here.
Please do.
Briefly, anyway. Christmas, of course, it's a religious holiday to celebrate a great event. And the event is события in human history. It's the day when Jesus Christ was born. It's easy to know how long ago this was, approximately, because the world measures time. Our years as BC in English, before Christ, for all time before that great event, and AD, Anno Domini, technically here, for year of the Lord, no Господь, the Lord. And time, of course, it's only an approximation. We don't know exactly when Jesus was born, what year. We don't even know what time of year it was. What is most important is not the date, and truthfully, it's not even the religious holiday either that is important, but the event itself. It's a birthday, then, of a person who God had promised in the Bible would come. The promise was made and repeated over hundreds and hundreds of years in the first part of the Bible, which was given to the Jewish people 1,000 years and more BC, before Christ. But Jesus was the one and only time that God visited this world by actually becoming man. Jesus was God and man, so that God, for the period of one human life, became a man with a very important purpose, right? This wouldn't happen only one time in human history for no purpose. It's a great purpose, which was for this man to then give the life that he began on the day we call Christmas, to give that life up willingly to die for our sins. Sins is грехи. So what are our sins briefly here, quickly? And I know that I don't want to kill Katya's joy here, but actually this would help that in a final sense. But our sins are the many ways that we have broken the law of God. Our conscience, our совесть, tells us when we have done the wrong thing. It's like the law of God that we have inside us. There are more sins which our conscience is too poor of an instrument to tell us what is wrong. It's like a broken measurement device. It doesn't work well. So we need to be forgiven these sins by God himself in a way which God accepts. Jesus is that way of forgiveness which God accepts. I'm really going into this, okay? You asked. Don't ask.
No regrets about asking, Gary.
Okay, don't ask a preacher to explain Christmas without getting into what it really is. Okay. So Jesus is that way of forgiveness which God accepts. He even did this entire thing. This was all of his doing, to send Jesus to be born of a virgin woman in one place at one time, to make a way of forgiveness for all people in all places for all times, which means us too, because we're people. And this is a place, and it is a time. So this is all done for us as well. So the meaning of Christmas is about hope, that God will defeat every enemy finally, even sickness and death, of which we've had, I'm afraid, this year too much, frankly. We need hope. It is about peace with God, but also between men. And we all know there is not much peace between men. It is about salvation, spasienia, so that we can have God as part of our life so long as we live and go to heaven with God when we die. Now, there's a lot of wonderful Christmas music which people love. And at least in America and England, I know this is the case, there is a lot to sing about here. And that's why the music is great. The Bible says even the angels sang when Jesus was born. So God kind of lit up the sky above with angels. They knew the event was very great. So it's the event itself. It's the person who made the event great. His birth, Jesus' birth, Christmas, Christ Mass. Christ is in the Word. It's the beginning of the word. Mass was the Catholic version of the holiday. So the Bible puts it this way, and this was words of the angels on that day. It says, "For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord." That's what Christmas is about, and where it appeared, how it appeared.
That is fantastic. I mean, I thought, well, I had a very simple idea about that. So I only thought like, okay, Christmas must be the day that the Christ was born. But you gave so much detail. Thank you. Thank you. And what about celebrating Christmas? Do you celebrate Christmas? And if so, how?
Well, just before I start, I believe here in Russia, it's not as much a commercialized experience as it is in the West, perhaps. Perhaps they look at Christmas as more of a religious event, whereas in the West, it's become more of a secular holiday recently.
I think maybe it was a non-event for 75 years. And then it became an event again, and I think people are trying to maybe understand here what it means and how to observe it, how to celebrate it to some degree. Of course, there's history way before the revolution. But
I would say that we in Russia celebrate New Year, and then Christmas remains a religious holiday. So for many people, which is why for us, what is commercialized is not Christmas, but New Year. But we'll get into that. So
yeah,
as a separate subtopic. But yeah, I would like to ask you about Christmas, because this is not something we have here on the 25th of December. So I'm curious as how do you usually spend this day and Christmas Eve?
Well, normally it's a time to be with family. So I don't know if anyone has seen the Home Alone film. Maybe you have seen it. It's a classic,
of course.
Yeah, classic American film. And there you can see the whole family comes together, and the whole reason why the film is eventful is because the family becomes split up. So personally, I would spend time with my parents, my brother. We'd just chill out, have fun, maybe fight. But it's a fun event nonetheless.
Siblings.
But yeah, it's mainly a time to be with your family. So we would normally eat turkey. My mum would cook some good food. It's a fun experience.
I've heard that you have been traveling a lot. So have you been living in other countries as well?
Yeah, sure. So it's a long story, but I'm English, but I was born in Brazil. My dad was working in Brazil. So Christmas in Brazil, I was only in Brazil until I was 7 years old. So it was very hot there. So it was a very different experience. But in Brazil, it's a very religious country. So they properly celebrate Christmas. So yeah, I just remember a very hot, melting Christmas tree.
Right. Yes. Right.
Because I think to everyone, everyone has this direct association of Christmas, being cold, maybe snowy. If you're lucky, then you have White Christmas. But yeah, I always wondered what it's like to celebrate Christmas and New Year in hot places.
Yeah, it's
So-
an odd experience.
All right.
To say the
Probably
least.
be not the best experience. No, I can't even.
Gary, and what about you? How do you celebrate if you do?
Well, I do, it does again. If I were younger, right, and doing a different thing in life, it would be a family situation, right, like you described, basically. Quite like that. But as it is, of course, I'm here. I work with the church, so it's what we do is related to that, and not on December 25th, but on January 7th, just because we're here and nobody knows the actual date, so it's unimportant. It's the event again. So,
Gary,
basically,
is that an Orthodox church?
no, it's
not.
it's a Protestant church.
Cool.
Yeah, Baptist. Yeah. So in any case, we do observe it, and we have a program and so forth, special, like a holiday and a big meal together. It's a fellowship time. We say fellowship is общение, and that's what we do now. When I was a kid, it was totally child's Christmas in America long ago, but.
So, Katya, how did you spend Christmas in Yakutia? Because you grew up in Yakutia, correct?
I did. Well, when you say Christmas, I would, I think about January the 7th. So, but it was family time. So, my family, we used to make this chicken pie. So that the cake the pie that we would only make on Christmas and not any other time of the year. And we would spend time together, maybe watch some movie or play bingo.
Well,
Sounds so.
Are there chickens in Yakutia? Aren't they too
There
cold?
are. Well, I mean,
Mostly, well, they're dead chickens,
Yeah,
but that's a technicality.
you prepare for the winter,
Yeah. So
beforehand.
Right. Yes, right.
But yeah, that was
Yeah.
basically it. I can't remember any going out or anything like that. So every time it's from January the 1st till January the 7th, it's the time off. So usually people do not work. So, and we would spend this time all together with the family until I moved to Siberia away from my parents, I'm afraid. And you both have mentioned Christmas being overly commercialized. So is there anything I mean, because I have noticed this craze, I think. Right the day after Thanksgiving, the 20-something of November, everything turns, Christmassy. It's everywhere. The ad, the shops gone crazy. The Christmas music is everywhere. So what do you think about it? Can we do something with that? Or is that okay? Should that be that way?
I mean, I was just in the supermarket Pyatyorochka, and there was Western Christmas music playing. I thought it was quite funny to hear it here in Russia. I don't personally have a problem with it, but I think perhaps from a religious perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, it might detract from the whole religious experience, having a commercialized Christmas.
Well, it's not it. The world does what the world does, and what it does is make money, and so that's what they're concerned with, and it's a great way to make money. A lot of
Yeah, it sure
businesses
is.
make most of their year or much of their year around the holidays, and so which has no connection to anything religious, of course. And but I'm not offended by that. That does not make me sad. It makes me sad, but it doesn't make me angry. I don't expect most people to have the real meaning of Christmas be the main thing for them. I don't expect that. I would be surprised. I would love to be pleasantly surprised, but I certainly don't expect it. Yeah.
Ben, Christmas is just what, next week?
It's on the 25th. Yeah, it's on the 25th.
So what about you? How are you going to?
So I'm
spend
going
the
to
day?
Skype my parents, but then again, I have 4 lessons here, so
Oh,
so I'm gonna do some lessons
Yes,
and
congratulations.
celebrating my students and
Wow. Not
Okay.
exactly the way I would,
Warm.
I would like to spend
to
my
be honest,
Christmas.
it's a different Christmas, and I want to see what the Russian Christmas is like on the 7th of January. So I'm not too bothered by it. I'll give my parents a call afterwards. I mean, I actually come from a Jewish or half Jewish family, but we still celebrate Christmas anyway. So yeah, we enjoy the experience nonetheless.
All right. So for you, it's like an opportunity to have a family gathering, just spend some time together rather than.
I mean, I don't come from a religious Jewish family, but we still love celebrating Christmas, and yeah.
All right. All right. And do you think that Christmas celebration has changed over the years? And yeah, so let's say 20 years. So what do you think?
I'm not sure. Coming back to the film Home Alone, they were pretty.
Yes. Ben's basic experience.
Yeah, that's
baseline knowledge of Christmas is
Exactly.
Home Alone. Okay.
Home Alone.
I haven't thought about Home Alone because when I was a kid, I loved the movie. Now all I can think about when I watch it is one, who are Kevin's parents and how much do they make that
Yeah,
they can
they're-
afford a house like that? And
wow.
two, what's their electricity bill like?
Yeah, that's a big bill.
So, but yeah, I'm sorry. Coming back to the
that's
question.
properly commercial. That's getting in the spirit of modern Christmas right there. Yeah.
Although-
Let's see their electric bill. Nice house. Wonder what.
Well, not just the electric bill. They stayed at the Plaza Hotel in central New York.
Yeah,
So
right.
Right.
God knows how much that room cost. That, must
That
have
would be
been
an expensive little pleasure. Yes.
a little cheap getaway.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. Typical American family.
So
yeah.
the Plaza Hotel, for those who don't know, is right next to Central Park in New York City. So it's a very luxurious hotel. So yeah, only the wealthiest of the wealthiest stay there.
But every American can go there just like that.
Yeah.
That's why you want to learn about America by watching movies. Yes.
Exactly.
Form the right opinion. Don't get a wrong idea. Get the right idea.
Also, speaking of, families spending an incredible amount of money on decorations sometimes. I know a family who live in a small town in Massachusetts, in Malton, and they never go on holiday. Every year they save up to $4,000 just to, decorate the house, the yard, and, pay the electricity bills. And
Yeah.
I think this is a little bit too much.
I would
I mean,
agree.
I love decorations. Okay,
Right,
I love
yes.
Christmas and everything, but
Well,
even
come
for
on,
me,
then.
that would
Right, just come
too
on.
Yeah, you can buy
If you really
half of
love
that.
decorations, that's fine. That's even better.
So I'm sorry, we drifted off a little bit from the question, but you said that you don't think that it has changed the celebration.
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, if you look at the film, for instance, they celebrated.
Yes, right.
They
Ben
celebrated.
returns. Ben actually has been not living in.
Well, I am home alone here in Siberia.
Okay,
so
well, all right. Life imitates art.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully you won't get any burglars
well,
breaking in. So.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be
Well-
like that here.
well, I think we have a good
Очень плохо.
yeah, we have a good ochrannik downstairs
Yes.
who will protect me. So a good security guard.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
that's so sweet that
Yeah.
you think so.
that's lovely. Yeah.
So
People-
for Christmas, my
people-
computer gets stolen. And
Yeah, people come thinking such lovely thoughts. Yes, right.
So, and what if I ask you the following question? What is the best Christmas that you've ever had?
it's a good question. I'd
I
say
know it was
yeah.
Ben was home watching
Yeah.
watching
Definitely.
Home Alone for the 44th time. No, yes.
Let me just think. I was gonna say in England, we really, or at least in the south of England, you don't really get white Christmases. And I once had a white Christmas, and that was really nice. Because usually in England, the snow is really, well, not the snow, the ice is really slushy. So whenever you walk through the streets, it's disgusting and horrible. But it was really nice. We once had a White Christmas, and we played football or soccer if you speak in American English.
Yeah, wow. I could really relate.
How thoughtful.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, we played football in the snow, and that was really nice.
Aw. Wait, so have you only had one White Christmas?
I think we had 2 maybe.
Wow.
Of the 20-something years I've been in England, we've only had 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you are lucky to have one here.
Yeah, I'm very privileged.
Yes, you really lucked out this year. You made a really solid choice if you want to finally see some snow.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guarantee you stick around every year.
Yeah, I hope so.
Not even a question.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Think about something else.
Something would be wrong with Siberia if it wasn't a White Christmas.
Yeah,
So.
all that global warming talk, that would be not talk.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
Garen, what about you? The best Christmas you've ever had?
Oh my goodness, I'd have to go back to being a little kid. Can I do that?
Yes.
Does that count?
Yes.
I mean, long ago?
Why wouldn't it?
Historical?
Yes.
You know, going back almost to the events we were discussing earlier. Halfway anyway. But yeah, I would say when I was a little kid and maybe like in 5th grade, I don't know, that'd be what, 10, 11, something like that. And it was a little commercial, I suppose, toys. You know, you're looking for the big toy. And I mean, we had the little thing I put my train, probably not when I was this age, but a little younger, but I put a train. I had a HO train. That's a kind of a toy train, but a pretty good toy train, expensive toy train. And you would do things like that, and you might get a big gift, you know, that you were looking forward to, and, you know, all your family's together and everybody's, how shall we say, alive. And that's part of it.
Yeah.
So remember that too, by the way, while you're remembering other things about the time, to appreciate that. And so that's the time that I suppose I would remember. And we had snow, and we had vacation from school, and we could play football outside, American football, with that weird shaped football, like a rugby football, and things like that. So I'd have to go back to that period of time.
That sounds amazing.
It was good.
But did you have an American football pitch by your house? Or did you just improvise and play?
No, we played in the street. Yeah, we played like in the street. Yeah. But not like street.
Yeah. And I guess you
not
didn't...
like stickball in New York City or something. This was suburbs, and so...
I guess you didn't have protective equipment. You did it like, you did like the good old days.
No. That was 20 years later that we weren't protected. Yeah, we just went out there and got hurt.
And you grew up in, oh my God.
Ohio. Yeah, Ohio, yeah.
Oh,
and Ohio gets snow.
Yeah, it gets cold there, yeah.
Yeah. And so most years it would be unusual if we didn't have snow. Or not super unusual, but we would expect snow.
And can you tell us something about traditions, like Christmas traditions in the US and in the UK?
That's a good question. I mean, of course, you have religious traditions, but... Let me just think. Christmas crackers. So whenever you're around the table, you get little Christmas crackers, which have really minor explosives inside the crackers. Obviously,
so they're crackers like firecrackers.
Exactly, like firecrackers.
I was thinking crackers is like...
Oh, the food.
Crackery.
Yeah.
Yes, right. I thought, okay.
Yeah, Christmas crackers look like... I'm trying to think like a sweet wrapper, like a big sweet wrapper. And you get 2 people, you hold each end of the cracker and you pull. And there's usually a present inside the cracker and a little explosive sound that comes from the firecracker. So that's a little tradition.
Oh, I saw that, I get all my knowledge about the UK from the TV shows, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. And I saw these crackers in some of the TV shows, and there was a paper crown. And everyone, and after that, some people told me, like, they make each family member to actually put on a paper crown, which everyone hates.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wearing a
Did you do
paper
that?
crown. That sounds awesome.
No, I love the paper crowns.
Man, I feel like I've really been missing out. All those, no paper, not even one paper crown.
So it's a paper crown, some kind of a what's inside? It's like some kind
It's
of a
usually-
toy.
Yeah, a little gift or something. So
And
sometimes,
some kind of a terrible joke as
yeah,
well?
exactly, like a little terrible joke. So sometimes, for instance, you get a screwdriver set or maybe
what?
a screwdriver set.
I mean, that's
or
very
something.
useful.
I love that. It was my favorite.
Right, yeah.
Once I got a really odd one. I got some nail clippers, which which was a really funny Christmas cracker.
Yeah, not exactly what you would expect to get.
Yeah, exactly. I was quite-
Christmas, but still useful.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I had a question. So paper crowns. Oh yeah, I wanted to say that if there's anyone listening who's going to be on Christmas lesson with Ben, please bring a paper crown.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
bring your paper crown with you, yeah.
So okay, so Christmas crackers. Anything else that you would call a tradition in the UK? Christmas tradition.
Well, mainly food. So, of course, as is done in America, we have the turkey and we have stuffing. Well, yeah, there is a tradition in America, is it not?
Well, we do turkey at Thanksgiving.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I think that we usually had like there was a sort of a sequence to the food. We had turkey on Thanksgiving, and then I
Yep.
think we had roast beef on Christmas, and then we had pork at New Year's.
Yeah.
I mean, we did.
Oh.
No crowns though. crowns.
No
Yeah,
crowns.
it all was empty. Now that I look back, it was just empty without the
missed
crowns.
so much.
Yeah. No crackers, no crowns. I mean, what
All
was
right. And what about the U.S. traditions, Christmas traditions?
it? Wow. Well, I think the main thing is maybe you decorate the tree, right? You if you're really ambitious, you go out and get a tree. You buy a tree.
Oh, can we get, like,
a live tree? They call it.
A little bit of like apparel. So you mentioned a tree, but Ben hasn't mentioned a tree. Does that mean you don't put up a tree?
Oh, no,
or,
we
like,
definitely have trees, yeah. So Christmas
artificial?
tree. Our one is artificial, but yeah, a lot of people sell Christmas trees, and it's actually quite a lucrative business in the UK and I guess America too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, we I think maybe when I was really little, for a couple of years, my parents maybe got we call them a live tree, although they're really a dead tree, but they're I mean, in the sense that they're not
Yeah.
going to live anymore. But if you put them in water, they stay green. But after that, my parents bought artificial tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the
for
trees shed everywhere, so you have
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
not the leaves,
Oh,
but
yes.
the
needles.
the needles, exactly,
Right,
the
the needles.
thistles, whatever they're called.
Yeah, needles.
Yeah, the needles, they
Yeah.
they shed all over the floor and
Have you heard about the new trend in the Christmas tree thing? So nowadays it's popular to get a tree in some kind of a pot, so it's alive.
Ah.
You don't actually cut it. Then you rent it. Then you give it back.
rent a tree.
You give
Oh,
it back,
wow,
and then
okay.
after some time they actually plant it somewhere in the forest. So it actually is not dead after all, but it keeps growing.
Wow, well, I approve that.
Very eco-friendly.
I think
it
that
is,
is
yeah.
very good. That is very good. Yeah.
All right. So tree. What else?
Well, and the decorating. That was the other thing that went with the tree, right? You decorated. We had some ornaments. We call them ornaments. That's the little things like you have them here too, made of glass or other materials. And some of them were very old, right? They went back to maybe my grandmother.
There is some,
It's-
special aesthetic about those old glass.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Christmas
Some of them are
ornaments.
beautiful, and we had one that I remember. It was a face of a baby's face, and like hand painted, and I'm sure it was glass, and it was really beautiful, and little drums and things like that, and so you had those, and then of course you had newer ornaments because it's a big tree, and but anyway, so that was part of it, and we would just decorate the tree together, and that was a tradition, and then open the presents together. That was the other part. Some people were Christmas Eve people, which we were. Other people were Christmas morning people, and meaning that the kids, everybody opened the present either Christmas Eve, that's the day before, the evening before, or in the morning first thing. So
And what would you put on top of a tree?
Oh, you put a big ornamental star at the top of the
yeah,
tree. So
there's a special stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
a special. I just had a thought. So each family sometimes has their own traditions each Christmas, especially, well, I guess in the UK and elsewhere. But for instance, my grandfather would make an ornament out of wood every Christmas for the
that's
different
good.
family members. So he would.
Oh, wow.
So for instance,
for each family member.
well, not, yeah, I guess he would. I mean, they were small, but they were still sweet. And when we got a cat, he made one of a cat. So that was,
Oh,
that
wow.
was sweet. Yeah,
Wow,
so
that's great. Yeah.
other people like to play games. Some people play football or soccer. Yeah, each family has their own tradition.
Like my family used to play bingo.
Yep.
You know, not a very Christmassy thing, you would think,
Yeah,
but we had so much fun.
That's right. It was.
But
yeah.
even though at some point it got boring, but it was still, you know, family tradition and, you know, an opportunity to get together. So we still enjoyed it. All right. So decorations, tree, anything else that you could think of?
Decorations, food, tree.
Oh, food.
Food.
So, Ben, you have mentioned turkey. Gary, you have mentioned, well,
Roast
beef
for Christmas. Yeah, I think it was the thing, ideally. But then the reality was,
what, frozen food from Whole Foods?
No, my parents were in business, and my mother didn't really want to do too much. She was tired, and we had spaghetti on New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve, spaghetti, right? I mean, and we were happy. We didn't care. And then I think when I was little, again, my grandmother, I had a very traditional grandmother that was, the kind of lady that loved to cook and loved to be in the kitchen, and that was her thing. And so she would, that was when the roast beef was really king, shall we say, with no crowns, but right, but still.
What about dessert?
Dessert, so you'd have a Christmas pudding in the UK. So
Is that the one you set on fire?
yes, it is.
Ooh.
Exactly, that's the one.
What is with this fire? What is the business with
I don't know.
destruction on this is a dangerous
It's
man.
soaked in alcohol, right?
It is.
So
It's
that's why
it's soaked in brandy usually,
Oh,
so it's
sheesh.
it burns. It's really cool. I love it. But I think there's usually a lot of accidents related to this in homes.
Yeah, I would think so.
Right,
Yeah, keep your pets away from the from
depending
the
on how
Christmas.
much of the brandy went somewhere else before.
I do not know if that's a British thing or an American thing, but I could see a lot of people making traditional Christmas fruit cake. So I do not know where exactly that has come from, but at some point I started making that every single year. So the
Oh,
thing is
wow.
that you bake it and then you pour some whiskey or rum or brandy onto it every week, and then you leave it in some cold, dry place. So. And in total, you have to spend from 2 to 6 weeks doing it. Now it's my week 3, so I tried it today. Oh God, it's so good.
I mean, the British Christmas pudding is kind of like a fruit cake, but slightly darker. I don't know all the ingredients that go inside it, but what color is your fruit cake?
Dark brown.
Yeah, our one is really dark brown.
And then you have like really a lot of fruit and nuts in it.
Yeah.
I should look into that. Maybe I should set mine on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, only if it really doesn't work out well. Yeah, you just say, well, right, we'll do it the English way this year. Не получилось, давайте мы.
Speaking of food, my favorite tradition is I've heard in Japan. Well, I know they're not religious at all. Well, there are some Christians in Japan, but everyone likes to go to KFC at Christmas time.
Oh, now you're talking.
So that's it.
Now you're talking something really not Christmas.
So that's what I've heard. It's just a rumor, but apparently KFC is huge in Japan for Christmas.
So I can just imagine, getting a big bucket of chicken wings for Christmas.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you were saying spaghetti,
Right, yeah, that's about the same. Right, yeah. I'm not going to look down on any KFC. Great. It's beautiful. Yeah,
That's actually interesting. If we think about Russians, well, I mean, I'm going to switch between New Year and Christmas because New Year is kind of more important for us Russians. But every year, if you ask people, what do you cook for the New Year's night or for Christmas? Well, I don't know if you have, Gary must have noticed. Ben, it's ahead of you, but Russians are very superstitious, like ridiculously
I've read
superstitious.
about this, yeah.
So, and that's why every year the menu for New Year's night would depend on what kind of year it's going to be by Eastern Zodiac thing. So, so for example, this coming year is going to be the year of the bull, I think, which means no beef on the table because that's going to anger the bull. So
Smart. Very
yeah,
smart.
and that's just, I mean, everyone realizes that it's dumb. Like,
People
it's
think
superstitious.
Oh,
but,
no. I mean, think about it. Got to think in a certain way.
And then
Just not too much.
at some point, I have noticed that a lot of people started cooking turkey for
Yeah.
Christmas, which is not a typically Russian thing.
Because of the beef danger, the bull.
But it's every year.
Oh, it's every year.
So
Well, then I don't know. Yeah, right. So someone else smarter
maybe it's
will
just,
have to explain
maybe
it.
it's just the influence of different films and TV shows because we see
Was
turkey there.
that part of Home Alone?
I don't think there was a turkey there. Maybe.
Yes, right, yes. You'll have to watch it the 45th time. You'll remember those details. You're not picking up all the details.
But don't forget, Gary, that Home Alone has 3 parts.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
think it
yeah.
has 4. It has 4. The 4th one's
What?
terrible.
Oh, wow, 4.
What is,
I can't even remember it because it was so bad.
and what's the plot? Is it the same or
It's
different
the same
burglars every
kind of
single
thing. Yeah,
Right,
burglars,
right.
yeah.
Don't mess with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's repeat the same thing. It worked.
Oh my goodness.
It's the American way, right? If it works, we'll give you more of it. You like it?
Do you know that there's actually a separate channel, one of them, that only shows Christmas movies? So, and they are made every fortnight, I think. So, Christmas movie, a new one every 2 weeks.
Oh,
It's
dear.
ridiculous.
What, throughout the whole year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow. That's serious, yeah.
And I think, like, if you look at the posters, they're all green and red with a couple,
Of course they
something
are.
like that. So it's basically the same plot with different people and maybe different words, but I'm not so sure.
You mean it's the same movie?
No, it's not, but it
Oh.
feels like it's the same because you can
That
imagine.
might as well be the same, yeah. It is, all right. Okay.
I feel like after a month of watching these, it'll feel like exactly the same movie being.
I'm sure it will. And that's probably the desired effect, yeah. That's what you want.
So, and what about New Year? Do you celebrate? And is it typically celebrated?
Well, yeah, I mean, we put the news on and they have the big countdown and you watch the various other cities across the world celebrating with their fireworks.
I loved London fireworks, by the way.
When did you see them?
2014, 2015, I was right, I was in front of London Eye.
Oh, cool. So you were on the South Bank.
No, wait. Which one is across the Thames?
Oh, no,
The
South
South-
Bank is on the Thames. Yeah, it's where the London Eye
But I
is.
mean, I was on the opposite side from London Eye, but I was facing it. So
guess
that was the best location.
Maybe Embankment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's it. So you were by Big Ben and you saw the fireworks. That's pretty cool.
That was the best New Year I have ever had. I was crying because I was so happy. Even
What are the fireworks like here in Novosibirsk?
boring.
Oh,
They're boring.
awesome.
boring ones.
Awesome. Yes.
But I thought the Russians took New Year's very seriously.
Well,
Yes, but I mean, think about that. If we compare Novosibirsk to London,
Yeah, let's
they're
see.
boring because
Let's see. let's,
our city cannot afford spending that much on fireworks. Usually, there are a lot of people on the streets on the 31st of December, closer to midnight, but not this year, I'm afraid. I know that they're going to block the streets and have the police there so that there are no huge gatherings.
That sounds fun.
Yay!
yeah.
If that is your definition of fun, you're gonna love it here. Oh my! So yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting. So New Year.
New Year. Yes. Well, the traditional thing that you do, I mean, if you were in New York and you were young enough, you would maybe go down to Times Square.
That sounds like the most horrible idea ever.
It depends on what you, how you
Times
feel
Square.
about
No,
crowds.
Times Square is
Do you
cool.
like crowds? You like a lot of
Do you
other
know
people?
that usually on New Year's Eve it's around 1 million people on Times Square? And the moment you enter the territory of Times Square, you cannot get out. And a detail that not many people think about, there are no toilets, not even portable ones. And you have to spend up to 6-7 hours there.
Yep.
Do the math.
Okay.
So
That's
another
yeah.
reason not to do that.
I had a roommate. I had a roommate from Japan, and that was her lifetime dream. So when she actually did that, I was like, it was so cold that year. It was one of the coldest winters in New York State and Massachusetts as well. And she was like, I had layers, and she was wearing a diaper, so she would not leave.
She wore a diaper.
A diaper, yeah. Well, okay.
But yeah, if you're listening, I'm sorry for telling people this.
Well, I guess,
Did she? I'm not gonna...
I mean, just try it not wearing a diaper.
An unforgettable experience.
A lot of things are what you
Year's-
compare it with, right? And so diaper compared with normal underclothing, not good. But in most situations. But
So, all right. So,
all right.
people in, I know that some people celebrate New Year. Well, let's say those who go to Times Square,
Yeah.
those who celebrate it on like some, the center of the city or something, watching the fireworks.
Right. Well, I don't even know that generally most American cities, except New York, maybe Chicago, big cities, maybe they have something equivalent, similar to Times Square, something that people would go to, but a lot of cities wouldn't. Smaller cities.
So I spent a couple of years in Boston, and we had fireworks there, but I don't think many people came there because that would mean, getting back home somehow, and the Uber prices would be ridiculous. And also, last year it was way too cold to do that. So I think they even canceled the fireworks. I can't remember, but I think they did because it was too windy and too cold for people to go and be there close to the ocean with very strong wind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, what normal people did in the United States, most people, in the not on the coasts and not in big cities, is they would just watch it on television.
Yeah.
That was a tradition. It's an old people thing, but even whatever your age is, that's
So
what
when
you do.
when there's a countdown, so is there any speech after? Because in Russia we have the president's speech.
No
In the
speech.
UK, do you have the Queen's speech?
The Queen's speech, the New Year's speech, yeah. So it's kind of like here in Russia you have the новогоднее обращение, don't you? But it's kind of like that, except it's the Queen. So
Right. So it's not a lot like that, right? Yes. Right. Yeah. Just depends on how similar you think Vladimir Putin is
And
to
the
the
Queen.
Queen of England. Yeah. Right. Yes.
But I'm
I'll
pretty
leave that
sure
up to each person individually to decide.
Oh, come on! I'm so sure they say exactly the same thing. Like, it's been a rough year. Next year is going to be better.
It's a similar
we
kind
need
of
to stay
speech, yeah.
together. Like, support each other. Yada yada yada. So
It's very calming listening to the Queen because she has a very calming voice. So it's nice hearing her every year.
all right. So now that we have started talking about New Year, so I'm going to tell you about different. I do not know whether it's superstition or fortune telling. Call it whatever you want. But what a lot of Russians do on New Year's night. So while the clock is counting down from 12 to 0, 1, whatever, you need to take a piece of paper, write your wish on it, burn it, put the ash into a glass of champagne and drink it, all within 12 seconds. And
My goodness.
that and they say your dream will come true.
Has
I
it
guess-
ever come true for you?
I do a different thing, and yes, it has. So what I do,
Okay, well, we don't want things that don't work. We want things that really work.
Yeah.
So we're as we say, we're all
exclusively
ears.
for our listeners,
Yes.
listen down,
Yes.
write it down.
We got the diaper on the Japanese roommate. We got Ben has watched Home Alone 44 times now and can quote it.
But yeah, I think that Russians are way more superstitious than any other country in the world, I think. 'Cause
The
we
best
believe-
superstition is don't whistle inside. So свистит внутри нельзя.
Oh yeah.
So that I like that because it's annoying when people whistle inside.
Yeah, I
And-
remember one of my students did that and I cringed. I was like, please don't.
Yeah.
And they asked me why. I'm like, okay, are you ready for this lecture then? Do you really want to know why? But yeah, so a lot of people do that. What are some other things that we do?
So what was your secret? You
okay.
haven't.
Okay.
She
I have
doesn't.
not
I
wrote
feel
that.
she's holding back on us. She.
No, what
on.
what I do every year is don't think I'm dumb or something, but I take 12 pieces of paper. I write a wish on each of them, but it should be something more or less realistic. So no, I want to win $1 million. Because that's probably not going to happen.
12 realistic wishes. Okay.
More or less. So, and...
right, yes, you can spend most of December trying to come up with 12 realistic
some
wishes.
people say, oh, it's so easy to write 12. I'm like, oh, well,
I think it would
do
be.
so. Because usually it's not.
Right.
And then when you go to sleep, you put those 12 pieces of paper under the pillow. You sleep on it. Then in the morning, the first thing you do is, you pick 3 of them. The first one you pick is the one that is most likely to come true.
Oh, sure.
The second one is like 50-50. The third one is unlikely to come true. And I was very skeptical about that. But it's the thing that a lot of people in my family do for some reason. But then the first thing that I pick the next morning on January the 1st has come true for 5 years in a row now. So...
Cool. And what is that?
Well, for example, one year, for some reason, I really wanted to go to China. I don't know. I just really wanted to. But I was growing up in a poor family, so that was very unlikely to happen. But then somehow my mom got some kind of a bonus. And we actually did go to China that year in the summer. So
Okay,
Beijing
well,
or
that's
which
pretty-
part?
Harbin and Beijing.
Nice.
So
That's
it was before, the air quality
Oh, the
turned
smog.
the
turned
big-
horrible. So I was lucky to see Beijing in all its glory with nice air
wow.
without wearing a mask. So yeah. And I have a question to Gary first. So, and what about New Year celebration here in Russia? So how do you usually spend the night? You've lived here for so long.
Well, I have. And sometimes I have been invited over to people's places. And then I did what Russian people do on New Year's Eve. At least as far as I could tell. That's either that or they were putting on some kind of a show for me. But otherwise, I don't really make a big thing out of New Year's Eve because New Year's is not a big thing for, I'd say for Americans, for, I don't know, British
I mean, I
people,
was just
yes.
in Vegas, spent New Year's in Vegas, and it was crazy. I mean, it is Vegas, so
It's
a
always
very-
crazy.
Yeah, it's always every day is like New Year's, but yeah, fireworks everywhere. And if you own a dog, it's terrible because the dogs are terrified
Yeah,
of the
terrified.
of the fireworks. So you just hear all these fireworks and barking and and drunk people, and it's
Right, drunk people barking.
Like if you haven't mentioned
Every
the fireworks,
combination.
that would sound like a typical Vegas day.
yeah,
So what?
yeah,
yeah,
right.
It's
Right, the dogs and the drunks, that's every day. Yeah.
Vegas is a fun place. It's but don't bring your children there.
There's not much to do, if you bring children there. So wait, and what about your New Year plans this year?
I just want to walk around town, but I guess the police will get a little bit
I mean,
grumpy.
you
if
alone
I
is
do.
not a huge gathering. How many personalities do you have?
Right, yes, sir. Ben and all of his multiple personality problem is just arrested 4 times right, just
Who knows? Maybe
for meeting with himself, standing alone on a corner. Right, yes.
But yeah, do you live anywhere close to the center?
Well, I live just 10 minutes down the road, so ulica Frunze.
So you'd have no problem actually walking to the center and seeing what it's like.
What about you, Gary? Where do you live?
I live not far from the center,
Okay.
a different direction, but yeah, I could walk to the center
Yeah.
just without any problem. I don't think I will, but I could.
It's actually interesting because when I ask people from the US or from the UK, from different countries about Christmas, they say it's a family holiday. And then when they ask me about New Year, I do not know what to say usually because then in here, it depends on the person. So some people have New Year as a family holiday, so they spend it together with their family. Others prefer to go out, to go clubbing, something like that. Some people combine, so they spend some time with their family until 1 a.m. and then they go clubbing. But that's not important this year because nothing's going to work. Yay.
Right. So I'll look like the man. Right. Yes. The world has finally caught up with me through a pandemia. Right.
And do you ever make New Year resolutions?
I make resolutions or decisions or whatever, or things that are like resolutions, but not necessarily at New Year's. Not particularly at New Year's.
Why do you think people actually like make those?
I guess perhaps the start of the year there's more of like a format. There's more of a structure to how your resolution will play out. So I guess it's a good idea to do it at the start of the year.
It's like new year, new life, new me.
Exactly, newborn you. So
Do you do that then?
not really. I guess this year maybe let's make my Russian really good. Let's try do that. That'll be a good resolution.
That sounds cool.
It's a realistic resolution.
See what happens with that.
Yeah. No, it's
That's
a
doable.
great time for doing it. I mean, it makes sense, and I do too. It's just I can't say that I specifically make more resolutions or whatever, but it's perfect time because
I agree.
everything changes, right?
That's true.
Maybe we'll change too.
Usually after New Year's, at least in the UK, you have sober January, so nobody drinks in January. So a lot of people who get really drunk then set out to not drink for the whole month. A lot of people fail, but yeah,
Right, a lot of failure at that.
especially in England, yeah.
Well, now you don't even know what failure is until well, right. You'll get an education in failure. So prepare yourself. Yeah. Joking.
What do we think about this year, 2020? So how has that treated you so far? So let's remember good and bad that has happened to you this year.
Well, I'm here in Novosibirsk. That's a great thing.
Okay, which is it? Yeah.
Life-changing decision
All right,
has been
we
made.
said good and bad. Which is it? Come on. Right, yes.
Well, I started off the year working in a hotel in Vegas, and then all of a sudden the COVID pandemic struck, and obviously the hotels in Vegas suffered a bit. So the whole year has been a big game changer, I'd say. So reviewing your life, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and so yeah, it's been a big one.
Gary, what about
That
you?
would be a big one. Yeah. Well, it's been a year. I would say it's been a year. No, it's been, of course, a difficult year in some ways, right, for everybody, and I'll put myself in that group. I was glad I was able to go home. I was able to go to the United States and see my mother, take care of some business in February before it all
That was good timing.
Yeah, before it all went wrong. And so I was thankful for that because after that, it would have been rather difficult to do the same thing. Yeah.
I don't think it would be able to do that.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm thankful for that. And, generally, my family, my small family, and people that I care about are generally have done pretty well. And I'm thankful for that. And so generally it was good given everything, I would say. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so that was Big Apple School podcast, and today we discussed Christmas and New Year. We talked about the history of Christmas traditions in the US and in the UK. We talked about New Year traditions in Russia. We talked about food, New Year resolutions, celebrations, and so on. So, all right, thank you for listening. And remember, if you struggle to understand our conversation, you're always welcome to our website, which is bigappleschool.com/podcast, where you can find full scripts of each episode and you can read it while listening. Cool, right? Also, if you want to get more content which will help you learn English, you can follow us on social media such as Instagram, VK, Facebook, YouTube, Telegram, and so on by searching our name, which is again, Big Apple School. So that was Katya, and my guests for today were
Gary.
and
Benjamin.
stay tuned, and we'll see you around.